lined up later on to prepare to laugh edition. I think is a good way of putting it. But I hope you're well. Hope you had a good week. And yeah, back in the game. So my spotlight will be Trixie Yomi. If you joined my podcast yesterday, you know I spoke about it briefly, not too long. But I'm going to be going into greater detail tonight and ripping it a new one for the benefit of Steve. How do I do that? Right, anyway, I'm trying to get a video up and I just messed it up. I want to go and see the new Doctor Strange film at some point. Yep.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bits and Pieces podcast, episode 27.
Woo!
Woo! And as always, I am joined by this week at the moment we're only joined by one co-host, TheFreedyShow. Welcome in, Freedy. How you doing?
Hello.
And as you can see, there is no Beth at the moment. She did say she might be able to pop in, but she got some personal reasons that she isn't being able to join us tonight, or currently she isn't going to be able to join us. But like I say, she might be able to just pop in at some point during the podcast. But if not, it's just going to be the two of us this week, and we're going to be discussing as always, we're going to be doing some spotlights. We've got some news to look at. Not a great deal of news this week by the looks of things, but we'll try and fit some news in as well. And like I said, if Beth does come in, hopefully she'll give us a joke of the week. If not, then we'll just have to look at something that's going to be amusing to us at least. And I think there's definitely going to be some images and some topics along the way that's going to definitely make people giggle, I'm sure.
100%.
100%, yeah.
100%.
So yeah, as before we get started, how you been? Hope you've been doing well. Freddie,
Yeah. I'm good, mate. I'm good, mate. It's same old, really.
Same old.
Yeah.
And
same old.
just to announce then, whilst we're doing this podcast, Freddie has actually got his own podcast there, and we're actually trying to help him out on that one as well, just by announcing that sort of at the start of this one. We're I'll add in the usual links at the end. Obviously, at the bottom of the podcast, there's always in the description, there's going to be links to all of our channels. That includes Beth's as well. Obviously, I know she isn't here at the moment, but we're trying to include everyone's Twitter feeds and YouTube channels and all that good stuff. All the social media, all the socials and that are down there. But yeah,
all the OnlyFans.
Shh, you never said those ones.
Said all the socials.
All the socials. apart from that one.
Actually, that one.
That might be there. You never know. Yeah. So hopefully my voice is going to hold out. I've had a little bit of the old man flu just the last couple of days, but still raring to go on this week's podcast. Yeah, I started. Yeah, I know it's one of those.
Something like that. I'll let you know. Don't worry.
I did a couple of days ago. It was like my voice was so rough. It sounded like I was like 40 a day or 50 a day. It's like Frank Butcher. Right, Pat. Yeah. Right, Pat. Anyone who doesn't know that, it was the late great Mike Reed who sadly no longer with us, but a very raspy voice, as I recall.
Deep raspy
voice, and then he played a character in EastEnders, I think it was, and Pat Butcher.
Yeah, when it was good.
Pam St. Clements.
Well, better than it was now.
It was at the time of Pat and Peggy Mitchell, and that was a great time.
Not anymore. Back then, it was all right. It was watchable at least.
But we might be getting gaming podcast, we don't mind adding a little bit of other entertainment now and again. I don't see a problem in that.
Well, just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. But yeah, so let's get this episode underway then. Do you want to start your podcast?
Yeah, all right. I'll start.
You start your podcast and I'll just listen in. You want to start do you want to throw your card into the hat this week, or do you want to?
Yeah.
Go first?
I'll go first. Yeah.
Okey-dokey.
I'll
So,
got a lot to say about this one in particular.
So what game you got this week then?
I have Trek to Yomi. I did speak about this in my own podcast the other day, but like I said earlier, I'm going to go into detail with this a bit more. So it's a game that's come out on the Game Pass. It's a highly anticipated title. It's an indie developed game. For the life of me, I don't know who's made it. Flying Wild Hog. Right, so Flying Wild Hog have made this. And it's because everyone was deeming it as a spiritual successor or a 2D platform successor to Ghosts of Tsushima, which is obviously one of the flagship titles on the PS5, PS4, and is like exceptionally good Japanese RPG game with probably one of the best combat systems I've ever played. An exceptionally good game, which I will cover in a spotlight at some point in the future. But this is like an inferior version. It's very average. Like aesthetically, the backgrounds and art inspirations are like you're watching the old Japanese movies and the black and white samurai films.
Yeah,
The ones that used to have emphasis on atmosphere and style and styling rather than substance and content. So the camera work, the effects work, the sound design, how the whole thing looks, very very good. But unfortunately, that's where the praise from me starts and finishes, because the actual gameplay is probably one of the worst gameplay loops I've ever experienced in any modern video game. I don't know why everyone is rating it so highly. They're basically just giving it a free pass because of its homage to the old movies of old, and it's we don't get many of these sort of games apparently. So they're like, well, if we don't support it, we won't get any better ones, or we won't get any more, and yada yada yada. But it's in Game Pass, so everyone's going to download it and play it anyway. So it's going to do well regardless, at least for a little while. So you play this young kid. I think I don't know his name, if his name's Sandro or I don't know. I don't know his name. I was so completely like oblivious to the plot because it's not in English dub. So that's one of the things I don't like about it. It's all sub. So when you're playing an action game and you're trying to listen to the story, but you're trying to do the actions as well, it's rather distracting having to read the chat rather than just listen to the story as you go. So that was a bit of annoyance for me. I didn't like it at all. Um, and it's a very sort of bland look sort of game with the combat. So you have one button for attack, which is X, and then you have one button for heavy attack, which is Y. But you don't need any other attack. It's just X, 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 X. It's just you press LB for parry, and you press it before they even attack, and you parry, and then you hit them twice, and they die. That's the combat. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need any other combat mechanics. You don't need any skills. You don't need anything. It is literally just parry, XX, next boss, next enemy, parry, XX. And that tutorial begins sort of like that. You're this young kid in this village, and his dad or his sensei is teaching the way of the samurai. It's very similar beats to Ghost of Tsushima, where the father is teaching the code of the samurai to the main character, and it's just like it's very very sort of tropey in the beats it hits. So it's like master and student dynamic. The town gets attacked. Master runs off to defend the village. Tells his student to stay where he is, don't get involved. Student don't listen. Runs off to help. Considering he's never had a proper fight before, and he's like 10 at this point, he's able to overpower fully grown men with his strikes, which it does sort of just you have to suspend your sort of disbelief, because once you think about it realistically, he would just get bit slapped immediately. He's stabbed. I mean, it wouldn't even be a fight if he's fighting like honed warriors, and they are honed warriors. They're bandits, but they're trained in the way of Bushido, and this kid would have no chance, considering he's got no actual combat experience. But no, he's got the protagonist power of I can't die, so he's able to one button his way through hundreds and hundreds of lookalikes. And then this is where I really don't like the game. The lookalike copied and paste enemies. In the first 20 minutes of the game, you fight the same two dudes about 20 times. And if for a game that's trying to sell you an aesthetic, a series, like a story, and that's not the worst of it. The worst bit is in the cutscenes where it's the same cut and paste back people in the background, and even the static images where you're walking through the town, it's the same copied and paste characters. And when I was editing when I was looking back at the footage, I could tell that they're all just the same, different hair. Like they're exactly the same. They've all got the same. If they're in the background, they've got the same haircut, so you can't. You're really not supposed to be able to tell. But if you zoom in, you can see that they're the same. So it's very like aesthetically, it looks great, but if you look beneath the surface, it's like Cyberpunk all over again, where the game starts and everyone looks the same. You've got 2 or 3 copies of every character. It's like, are they twins, triplets? What's going on here? Why is everyone are they inbreeding? Why is there so many of the same character? And that's like it might not be a matter to a lot of people, but to me, as trying to sell a world, it's very it's very unbelievable, especially in this aesthetic where it stands out a bit more because there's no color and there's no sort of differentiation between anything. It all looks very bland. So apart from like the where you see like the wispy trees and the petals flying through the air and the music and that sort of thing, that's when it looks its best. But in this sort of situation where it's in its town and the same copied and pasted NPCs are the same ones you fight as well. So the ones in the town that are copied and pasted, you fight. It's just like I'm just like, is that an oversight? Is that intentional? Did they rush production? What is there a reason why we're fighting the band of 100 merry men of brothers? It's just that for that a story perspective, it's not very good in my eyes. I don't find that a believable world. It feels very cheap. It feels very sort of unnecessary, and it spoils the aesthetic and the story setup for me. Because I know, like in these sort of games, you're like, oh, but you will fight the same mobs over and over again. Yes, but you don't not at the start of the game. You usually have like if they're going to copy and paste at the start of the game, you'll usually have like the basic enemies, and then you'll get the advanced type, and then you'll go further into it, and then you'll get a variation of those enemies later on, and they'll have different armor, and they look a bit different, but you can usually tell they're the same enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in these sort of games, you'll get like God of War is a good example. You get those what's it called? Those ice dudes, and then they get more variations of them as you get further into the game, and then as you do that, um, they they get strong, they get different and stronger all the time. However, um, they're still the same enemy from the start of the game. But because like the combat's so good, you kind of sort of ignore it a little bit. You kind of get away with it a bit more in the games with like that. And this game hits you straight from the off, copied and pasted everything everywhere, and it just ruins the scenes for me. So then I touched on the combat briefly. It's got 2 buttons, and then it doesn't seem to matter if you get hit because there's healing stations every 5 feet. So I played on normal. I literally didn't even touch the direction. I was holding my controller up to the screen and I was just pressing X, and I was winning every fight without even blocking. So I got to the the end bit, which is I pretend this is what really made me. This is what made my chat laugh, made everyone laugh when I was playing it. I said, right, so what's going to happen now is he's going to run out of town. He's going to find his sensei. Sensei's going to be he's going to be in a fight, or he's going to be losing. He's going to turn up, and then despite the fact that I've just mowed down like 50 men, he's going to get either injured or the sensei is going to have to help him, and then after and his sensei come and help him, then his sensei will die. Right? I didn't know anything about this game. I knew nothing about the intro. I didn't do any research on it. That was just a pure guess from how the game was panning out. Right? Like I said, very tropey. So guess what happens 5 minutes later? right? I can't even make it up. Exactly what I said, right? The young idiot runs in, he gets booted over by this boss, right? And his sensei is fighting two has-beens, like two copy and paste brothers at the gate, right? I'm like, they're not even not even a boss or another character or another main villain. It's just two jobbers, right? That you can't kill, which is hilarious because a 10-year-old can kill him in 2 hits, but a trained sensei can't kill him at all. Give me a break. So you face off against this bloke who's built like a brick privy, right? And he's like, "I'm a samurai, I am death," and he's got all the cliche crap. So he starts. He's like, "You're too young to be holding a samurai sword." And then he throws the sword back at him and goes, "Show me what you got, kid." It's like, okay. So then the fight starts, and then to win, you've just got to parry him and then slice him once, and that's it. There's no health bar, there's no boss battle, there's no music, there's no nothing. One ting, and he's done. And then somehow like the kid falls over. Um, I don't know why he falls over, but he falls over, and then the sensei comes in and picks up his sword and is like, "You want to fight? You want to fight me? I'm the master of blah blah blah." And the doofus that he just cut the nose off goes, "I'm the master of fear." And then they sort of clash swords, and they both injure each other. They both die. And just before the master dies, he's like, you must carry on the will of the samurai. You must protect the blah blah blah." And I'm just like, Jesus, really? This is really the game, right? And then I didn't play. I played about another 10 minutes after that, and I was like, there's the town's in attacks again. There's a time jump after that, right? It's about 10 because it jumps about 10 years, roughly about 10 years, and he's now like the defender of the town, and they get attacked again. So it's the same thing: get attacked straight away. Well, they're in the middle of like, always getting attacked. They don't explain why they're always getting attacked. They're just getting attacked. So he goes out. He goes out of a group of warriors, and I don't worry, anything happens to him, and they all immediately die. And it's so bad. It's so bad. The story, like, at this point, the story is so tropey that it's laughable. The combat's laughable. The story's laughable, despite the aesthetics, which is a real shame. But I played it for a bit more, and I couldn't play any more of the combat. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to play any more of it. After about an hour, I'd had enough. And then I come off of it and I look it up to see what people are saying about it, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's amazing! This game's great! This game's brilliant!" I'm like, "What? Are we playing the same game? Are we actually playing the same game? Do you not see what's been happening? Do you not?" And then like, they just start, they sort of like breeze over the issues, like the copied and pasted characters, the terrible combat. They're like, "Oh, the combat's pretty bad, but if you can see past it, the game's amazing." No, if the combat is bad, then the game is bad. If your gameplay loop can't hook, is not good, then no matter how good the story is, and the story isn't good, right? Then it's not enjoyable for me. It's the worst game I've played of the year. It's 2 out of 10 for me. One of the worst games I've played of the year. It's absolutely. I don't understand. The only reason it gets 2 points is because of the aesthetics. That's it. The character models are poor. When they zoom right in, they look like defunct Sims models. You know, it's the black and white uh, sort of hides their terrible nature. Like the character models, not the backgrounds and the interactionables. The actual character models are pretty bad. Sounds good, um, and the aesthetic design is pretty decent. And yeah, if you can forgive the combat, um, then you probably would have a good time with it. But I can't, and for me, it's one of the worst combat. Since it's a combat focused game, I don't know if it gets better later on. I'm honestly, the game lost me after. If I'm not gripped into the game like a story based game after an hour, then I'm usually not going to play it. Like the opening section has to be strong in a story based game because there's so many story based games out there now that they're literally all vying for your attention. And the other thing I really didn't like was this occasional screen flickering in between each scene. It'd be the camera would have a fit and it would go all over the place and then it'd go back to normal again. So it's that I don't know if that's an issue, but that needs patching. But yeah, maybe 2 out of 10 is a bit low. 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. I've changed my mind. 4 out of 10. It's below average, but I suppose there's some fun to be had if you can see through it. But let's check Yomi. That's my impressions. That's my thoughts on it. Um, yeah, I might go back to it at some point if they fix the wooden terrible combat, which is just awful. It's just he doesn't attack like a samurai. Even in his adult form, he doesn't attack like a samurai. It just feels very amateurish. Like the whole like the whole game was designed by two different or three different teams. You got the aesthetic team, the sound design team, and then you got the combat team, and the combat team just went to bed. He didn't put any effort into it. But yeah, it's on Game Pass. So give it a try if you want. Like I said, I might return to it and give it another go, but there's too many other games at the moment that are much more valuable for value for your time than Trek to Trophy. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I think. That's it. That's me done. Mic drop. Out.
I'm done. Thanks. So yeah, if it wasn't on Game Pass, like, would you like? Obviously, you wouldn't pay full price for this then.
No,
Whatever
I
the
wouldn't
price
even
is.
touch it.
Do you know
No,
how
I
much
wouldn't.
it would cost? Actually, saying that.
I think it's £20 roughly. Let me have a look. It is on Steam. Let me have.
It's on Steam.
Let me
Oh,
have.
Steam. It's currently 10% off. It's £15.11,
Oh,
but it
so
should
about 16 quid.
£16.79.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Oddly, yeah.
I suppose 15 quid. I don't know. The combat maybe in the sale. Maybe in the sale, I'd recommend it, but definitely not in full price. Get it for 50% off if you haven't got Game Pass, or better yet, get Game Pass for a month for a quid, and try it that way. That seems to be the best bet.
Right. So
But yeah, I'll definitely would
for a
recommend.
combat game, the combat's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
If it was a story-driven game and the
And
combat wasn't the focus.
center focus, yeah, and then maybe you'll understand why it isn't. When if a see if the central thing is combat, and you're saying that the combat is just two things, then there's no parry, there's no dodge. Like
There's no dodge. No,
there's no,
there's parry. Yeah, but
if I'm playing a combat game like you said, and I'm able to do it with one hand, I
mhm.
don't feel. I would say I would definitely feel how you must have felt. Like you're not
Yeah,
feeling engaged at all, are you?
no, it was
You
on
can't
normal
be.
as well. So if I put it on hard, and all it was they took 4 hits instead of two. There was no difference to the AI. I will say that. So I didn't go any higher than that. There is one difficulty higher. So making enemies more tanky or spongy is not difficulty. That's force difficulty,
Yeah.
which makes it tedious. So
Yeah.
the game, if that's the best you can do with combat, then forget about it.
Oh
Forget
wow.
about
I mean,
it.
the only thing that, like you said, that what stands out the most about this is the aesthetics, the
Yeah,
black and white, like that is like looking at the old black and white movies of that sort of 1950s era or 1960s era or whatever was around that time, which was black and white, and it had that grainy effect now and again, so it
yeah,
gives you that old sort of movie style to a
yeah.
Japanese film.
Yeah. If
And
you want to experience that, sorry, Steve. If you want to experience that, just play Ghost of Tsushima on that mode. There's a mode built into the game. You can just turn that on.
right,
But
yeah, yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
on PC.
yeah.
So if
I think you're right.
if you want a decent experience and a proper engaging story with decent combat, probably one of the best open world games ever made, then that is definitely worth getting that for that reason. If you want the full experience of the whole old school movie style.
I,
But
I, I have to laugh before I do. Excuse me. I have to laugh now. For anyone who's not familiar with Steam, they will say, "Is this game relevant?" This is similar to the games that you've played. The games it's comparing it to, for me personally, because it's on my personal library, is Grime. Now I will point out Grime is a Souls-like Metrovania game. I'm guessing this is nothing like that.
no,
So I just don't understand how Steam can compare the two. But from what you've described and what I've been recommended from Steam, it's like I don't think they understand how games work sometimes.
no.
It's like that seems a bit of a bizarre sort of recommendation for me. But yeah, so Trek to Yomi, maybe Trek to the pub would be better. I'm guessing. So
Yeah, I might come back. I might come back. I might put some more time in it just to see if it changes.
yeah,
But when I can. But yeah, my first impressions and initial impressions and how bad it was. Yeah,
yeah.
not worth it. Not worth the time at the moment.
Well, that's rather unfortunate because I'm sure we looked at this in our game releases at the start of the year, and
Yeah,
we were looking
it
at
was
it as
top
a
pick. Yeah,
yeah, we was looking at this as a good one to go to. It's now out. Came out on the 5th of May, just like you know,
2 days
as we
ago.
said, yeah, a couple of days ago. So yeah, as you said, I would definitely look at it, but I would look at it from a much cheaper point of view and say, yeah, if you've got the access, like you're sort of taking over here a little bit, sorry, but yeah,
It's
if you've got
fine.
Game Pass, then give that a go. Then
Yeah,
maybe,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
you know, you might like it.
yeah. Some people do, some people don't. But like, if it's not, like you said, if it's not engaging, if you're not engaged,
Yeah,
then you're not going to feel committed
uh,
to continue on, are you?
I think I've been ruined by Elden Ring. I think that's. I think I've just every game I play now, got
You're,
combat wise. If it Elden
yeah.
Ring is if it's not up to Elden Ring standards, I'm just like, yeah, it's crap.
I think
It just doesn't feel the same.
you're onto something now. If you are sort of like looking at, like you said, combat games,
Yeah,
you definitely are going to compare notes, and it is difficult to get away with that. It's difficult
yeah,
to get off that sometimes because you can't help comparisons. But
no,
yeah, no, I looked at this and I thought maybe, but now you've spoke about it, I'm going maybe not. But yeah, Game Pass, maybe try it out if I've got time. I'll have a go, but I doubt it. We'll see how my week goes if I can get a chance to play it. I think we're done with that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
just a bit.
just a bit. Right, so let's move on then to my spotlight. So a game that I picked up when it first came out. Actually, it's coming back a couple of years. It's not that old, really. I mean, I know I do pick up an old games now. I do mention a lot of in the spotlights on some of my games. But A Plague's Tale, Innocence. I briefly spoke about it. Again, we sort of use benchmarks, don't we? We like to use benchmarks now and again. And this is a benchmark that we spoke about because it does have a sequel coming out. I'm looking
It
very
does.
much forward to it actually. But let's focus on this one anyway. So, excuse me. So A Plague's Tale then, Innocence, as I said, it is a action adventure stealth game. It's developed by Asbo Studios and published by Focus Home Entertainment. Oh, Interactive, sorry. It was released for Windows. It was on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and it came out, like I said, only a couple of years ago, 2019, May 2019. Actually, almost to the day, I think. So that's come around quite quickly, isn't it? That's 3 years.
Yeah,
And it has the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of the games were released July 21. So they are available now on all platforms. And there is a cloud-based edition for the Nintendo Switch. And it even come out on the Amazon Luna. I don't know if everyone ever bothered with that. Which I looked when I did. So it
I
is
didn't
set.
even know they had a console.
I didn't even know. I
No.
reading up on it today, and I found out that. So it is set during the 100 Years' War in France. It's set in the 14th century, and it focuses on the young girl and her brother. What was her name?
I have no idea. John Luke.
Amicia,
I don't know.
Amicia. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Amicia and her brother, Amicia de Ruin, I think her name, and her
Oh yeah,
brother, Hugo.
Hugo. That's it.
Amicia
Bloody,
is a
bloody Hugo.
15-year-old girl, French woman. She's a French woman of a noble descent who lives in Aquitaine during the 100 Years' War between England and France. And she has a 5-year-old brother, as I said, and it's he has been ill since his birth, and the mother, Beatrice, she is an alchemist. So she's trying to get him well, and he got something within him that is causing him to be ill. but the gameplay basically is so you assume the role of Amicia, and it is done in the third person, and for a majority of the game, like you need to actually utilize stealth to avoid hostile encounters, as enemies will kill Amicia instantly if they catch her. So let's look, basically, when you get caught, you'll die, and that's it. You'd have to restart at a checkpoint. You are equipped with a sling, and that's it. And all you can do at the start is sling rocks. Now, later on, those rocks you can craft. Does have a crafting element to it, so you'll be able to craft certain types of other projectiles, such as stun. You can stun enemies. You can create, I think, smoke, I think is one of them. So you can create sort of smoke screens, because obviously stealth is a big part of the game. So if there's nowhere to hide, you're going to need to bring in smoke grenades. There is stun grenades. There is, I think it's stun grenades. I can't remember if there is, or stunning them with the rocks. You can stun guards that are around. There is, you can create fire using a sling, or you can. There is another type of projectile which will extinguish fire. So it's like a water-based. One is flame-based, so it casts. It's very important that you know those sort of things going into this game, because it does rely on light source. Now, light source, if you don't have any, you're going to get eaten by rats. And it's a big thing in this game. It is during the plague. So there is swarms of rats that will pursue you throughout your whole, throughout the whole gameplay. And it's, I would say this is very, very kind of creepy. It's like there's the way that the game uses light source and light and shadow. They seem to do it very well, where you're walking down a pathway, and as long as you're holding a torch, you're part the sea of rats, like the part in like Moses parting the seas. It's like that's it. We've created a pathway, but the moment you sort of that goes into darkness, the rats then form up that create that join up again together. It's like it's very good at that mechanic when they use the rats. Some of the animation not great, but yeah, it is interesting anyway, some of the mechanics of the game. But yeah, so the game consists of a series of survival puzzles, and mostly consists of the player having to use specific methods to scare away or distract the hordes and hundreds of rats in order to gain access to new areas or direct them towards enemies. The primary method of warding rats off is fire. As I just mentioned, that's why when you got throwing projectiles come into it. As will seldom enter within the radius of burning torches and braziers, Amicia can craft, as I said already, special ammunition, and supplies. So yeah, I was gonna need supplies for healing. You'll pick up certain plants along the way to help create a healing balm. So there is a way that you can actually get your health back up. You can fire starting sort of sulfur, stones, light ignorant braziers. There's stink bombs that attract rats, so you'll fling it towards an enemy and the distance, and then the rats go after this enemy that you're trying to get rid of, which is kind of gruesome in its ways, because they swarm that particular person, as it were, and just sort of devour them, which is kind of gruesome, but that's part of the combat, and it helps you get around. And it's pretty much the only combat that is in the game is that slingshot. So being that is the only weapon that you have of choice, finding rocks is a must in this game. Finding rocks and crafting new types of the ammo. New types of ammo that you'll get, you'll craft as the game progresses. So every time you open up a new section, then that particular section, like I said at the start, crafting smoke bombs, for instance, is a way that in which the game developers have decided, well, we don't always want to hide behind walls or like wooden crates. Sometimes you can hide behind those, but let's have a section where there isn't any of those hiding. So how else do you get past it? Well, why don't we just have a smoke bomb, for instance? So I guess that's where that comes into it. Yeah, like I said, there is the stink bombs. They're quite deadly. Slinging them at your enemies, and then the enemies get devoured. Of course, some enemies will carry torches because they're aware of the fact that carrying a torch and those obviously flames keep the rats at bay. This is where you're going to use your water sort of bombs. You'll extinguish those flames, and then all of a sudden the rats go to town on whatever enemy you have just targeted. So that can be quite fun.
Yum, yum, yum,
Yum, yum, yum, yum, yum. Exactly, yeah. It is a really fun game, and it's you've just got to try and escort your... So, like, something happens at the start, and I won't go into too many spoilers. It's not that old of a game. People still might be able to pick this up now and give it a go. So I won't go into too much spoiler territory on this. I'll try and avoid as much as I can. But you need to follow your mother's pursuit. She sets you on a quest, and you need to, as a 15-year-old girl coming into womanhood, as it were, you're having to look after your brother. Your 5-year-old brother to you has always been that annoying little brother that you have, and he's like, well, I don't want to look after him. But you're forced to do so. You're forced to go on this journey to try and find an alchemist to help your brother get the cure, or give your brother the cure. So you help, and like something happens to your parents, which again I won't spoil it. So people do experience this for the first time. So you'll go after. You go on pursuit of this, finding this cure, and you'll go through towns and villages, and you'll come across other kids. It's like your journey is like almost a coming of age sort of journey as well. It's all that, Amicia trying to going into womanhood, but looking after her brother, as her brother then has her to look up to, and you're no longer that annoying older sister. You're that mother figure that Hugo needs as well. So you got that coming of age story underneath the whole thing as well, which is kind of a nice sort of refreshing look when you're not being attacked by these rats. You've also got to remember that it is a family thing as well. You are trying to, and in the time of Perish, where there was like we said, the 100 Years' War was taking place, and there are scenes of death in this game, which some people might look at and it can be quite gruesome. There are some gruesome times in it, but I think it's kind of realistic towards the time in which it was happening as well. The main enemy in this will be the French Acquisition troops, and they're led by Lord Nicholas, who is on pursuit of you because you have been sent out by the main antagonists. I can't remember what his name was, but he becomes like the main sort of boss fight that you have towards the end. It's really it really is a good sort of like game to play through. Like, there are obviously children that flee nearby villages where they learn that hordes of rats have been spreading the Black Plague. There are two wanted by the Acquisition and have to evade the villagers. Amicia and Hugo eventually reach a farm where they find the Laurentius, I think his name was, who you're sent after to try and get this cure, and he's already under the plague. So this whole story goes on, and it takes a few chapters to get through. But it's good. It's a good combat system. The fact that you're only using the slingshot is the only weapon you've got, but with combining different projectiles and using it not just as a slingshot to hit or knock people out. Some of them are quite amusing when you're doing a slingshot and you hit someone straight in the head and they go flying backwards. That's quite amusing. But the fact that this is the only weapon that you've got, and therefore stealth is also another way to not get detected by these by the French Acquisition. There's also, I think, along the way there is English soldiers that are on the battlefield. You need to cross a battlefield, and it's patrolled by these English soldiers. There's also, you come across a couple of other kids along the way. It's like the oldest, all the adults are like seem to be like all the bad guys, and even like you get, apart from like maybe the parents in this, but like everyone else is the bad guys, and you're just you and a couple of other kids, and you meet these other kids, and they help you out, and they take you to these places. There's a lot of puzzle solving in this as well. Sometimes that got me stumped. There were some puzzles in it I got a little bit stumped. I'm like, oh, I remember playing this game when it first came out, roughly when it first came out, and I streamed it as I think it's my first year of streaming on Twitch, which would be about 2016 anyway, and I played it through till the end, and I think what should have been only maybe 8 or 9 hours took me about 12 hours, just because I got to the end boss and I felt it's too difficult. And I thought certain areas I did something bad, and it was like every time I spawned in I was like doing the wrong thing. So that was down to my own play style rather than the game itself. Although I am going to talk about something I had mentioned before. You do get a chance to play as Hugo through a certain area. And I won't say what the area was, but there is a certain area that you'll need to play through. And I played through it, and there was one bad, really, really, really bad glitch that really let this game down for me. Hopefully it doesn't spoil it for anybody else, but the one bad glitch that I had, it has an autosave in this game. Once you get the autosave, you can't, I don't think you get a choice to go back to anything unless you restart the whole level, which is kind of annoying. That's the downside of autosaves, is that those things happen. Well, as I was playing as Hugo, I got caught by someone. The idea of Hugo's section is that you don't get caught by anyone, and he has no abilities that we're aware of at this point. And every time I got caught, I respawned at the exact same spot that I got caught, where the autosave was. So I'd respawn, get caught, respawn, got caught, respawn, got caught on a constant loop. And it was the worst kind of thing. It was like, what do I do? Do I reset the game? Now, at this point, I had one person in my chat who said to me, oh, that's very unlucky. And then I was like, yeah, you're telling me. I'm like, I've been playing it for 6 hours at this point. I think by the time I got to the end of the game and I got to the end of the boss fight, I was like, guys, I think I might end the stream. And the guy who's watched it went, please don't. I want to see the ending. Can you just, like, get good? That sort of thing. I'm like, so I did finish the game. It took me 12 hours. I think I managed to do a whole day of streaming. I wasn't intended to do 12 hours, but a 12-hour stream, really. Back when I had no viewers, apart from one viewer who came in, who I think actually left before I finished the game anyway, but that was rather annoying. But I finished the game, and I was glad that I did. But yeah, it's got, like I said, it doesn't have much in it apart from like hiding. There is certain areas that you can hide. There is long grass, there's behind walls. Obviously you've got the smoke screen, so you can create that. But you're on this big adventure, really. It's just you and your brother, and like I said, it becomes this coming of age thing that Amicia has to go through. She has to become a woman quite quickly, and her brother, who's 5, like whatever's wrong with him plays out in later on in the game, and I won't spoil why that plays out, but yeah, you need to sort of focus on trying to make sure that he's well. And it's really good. It's a really good system. It's not a bad game at all. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who hasn't played it. Play this before the next one comes out, and that's why I'm mentioning it, because the new one's coming out, I think, later this year. That's called Requisition, I think.
Requiem.
Requiem. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
right, my mistake.
Requiem or Requiem, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is what can I say? Story-rich adventure, female protagonists, and yeah, if you like if you like those sort of games, you're gonna love though. You know, I reckon you'll love this. I reckon people might find this quite a good challenge as well. It's not too. It doesn't hold your hand too much. You do have to find your way around. There is a lot of puzzle solving, as I said. But yeah, definitely worth. It does get very, very positive reviews on Steam. I think it might even be available on Game Pass, so worth looking out for. If not, you can easily pick this up quite cheaply now anyway on CD Keys or something like that for a couple of quid. I'd definitely give this a go. Yeah, if you want to learn a little bit of history as well, the 14th century France. There is some obvious background there towards it. Obviously, it is a game, but like, yeah. But those rats are terrifying. I just want to say there are certain areas in this game that I died over and over again because I was trying to find the right sort of pathway. But yeah, I really liked this game when it first came out. And it's a game that I'd love to go back to before the next one. I might even do a playthrough of it just before Requiem comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much me done. And I can hear my voice sort of just going slightly, so I'm
it's starting to go already. Yeah.
So I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I think I've explained enough of the game for people to kind of get an idea of what it's about without spoiling it. Again, it's been out a couple of years, but yeah, it's 2019, 2022, so yeah, it's not that far behind. If no one's ever heard of it, give it a go, have it, and yeah, that's me done. I'm going to sort of end actually because I feel my throat sort of just starting to give up. But I don't know if Freedy, I don't know if you've played anything like this before.
I have, yeah. I got to chapter 6 or no, chapter 8. I got to the one where you get to the kid graveyard and all the bodies are in the carts and you've got to avoid the rats.
Okay, that's kind of harrowing.
Yeah, I will touch on it. I stopped playing this game because I found it too much on the nose.
Yes.
It deals I will point out it deals with kid dying, kid death, kid bodies and stuff. You see all this sort of grim, very grim, very dark storyline. And unfortunately, these two young whippersnappers are literally thrown into chaos. And I actually feel for them, really, the amount of stuff they have to endure. And it's a very heart wrenching story. It's not a happy tale.
No,
definitely not.
No.
If you go into this thinking you're going to have, you'll have fun with it, but you won't have. Not fun as in the happy time fun. It'll be, oh my god, what the hell? It's very shocking. I actually stopped playing it because of how shocking it was. When I first got to that sort of graveyard, I stopped playing for a little while. It took me a while to get over the graveyard, get over myself to play it. But I got stuck, and I can say you touched on this earlier, so I was going to reiterate the same points. Really, that I found the puzzles extremely difficult and very time consuming. And if I didn't look up the guides, I never would have got anywhere with them. So it can be quite annoying. Yeah, the bugs and stuff as well. I came into a few bugs. Camille would get stuck in the floor. Hugo would get stuck not moving. He'd get stuck in certain positions and he wouldn't move forward. There's a mission where you've got to sneak past a bunch of rats and get him into. You got to light a brazier. Hugo wouldn't follow me. He just stood on the outsides of the rats and wouldn't move. So because of that, I used to die over and over again. Just constantly I don't know, I'm scared. And then you go over to him and you're like, calm down, get your act together. No, I'm scared. And then you just die. And I was just like, great, restart. Apart from that, but it is an extremely good game. Apart from there's a few things there. There's a bit of an annoyance, but that's for the most part it is just an annoyance. Graphically, it's amazing. Sound design, game design,
yes,
very good.
I forgot to mention actually the sound design in this is actually really good. Yeah, and as you said, the graveyard is one of the most harrowing sort of scenes in any sort of game. And if you can, I mean, it's going to be difficult for me to say this, but if you can sort of get past that bit, it's it is set in that sort of era where things like that. Oh, I mean, they're obviously over exaggerating on the rat sort of and the plague thing, and that's what they're trying to do. That they're trying to obviously add this, but it does play alongside that whole history of what happens anyway. So yeah, not to the great extent of what the game shows, but if you're like I said, if you're into that sort of history of things, you can sort of see where it's coming from. There was a plague. We know about that, the 100-Year War. We know about the French Revolution and the whatever the battles that were happening between France and England and all the English coming over. But yeah, taking that away from it. Yeah, like I said, if you can get past that, the puzzles are difficult, which I should have actually mentioned a little bit more on the puzzles, but I felt a little bit.
They're well done. Some of them are really clever.
Some of
Some of
them
them
are
are
really,
downright annoying.
yeah. It's like, well, I think again, it all come down, like I said, it all come down to my play style and whether I was any good at doing the puzzles. And I think you could probably reduce this gameplay. Like I said, it took me about 12 hours. It may have been around about that
Remember,
time.
there's a
But
puzzle option.
but there was that loop that I had as well, where I just kept dying and spawning, dying,
Yeah.
spawning. That's kind of that was one of the biggest gripes for me was, like you said, you picked up on there was some bugs in the game.
Yeah.
But overall, like I know this gets quite highly rated, 9 out of 10s. I still think it doesn't deserve. I don't know if it on a personal level, I would give it less than that because it does suffer some bad, bugs.
As optimization issues as well. Some places,
Yeah.
it's just it tanks quite badly, especially when the swarm of rats are on the screen.
Yeah.
At least for me. But yeah, I've played it quite a bit. I've always got to the same bit and got stuck every time. So it's just shortly after the rats, and you go through. I can't remember what it is. There's another stealth section where you can't get caught.
Yeah.
And I keep getting caught. So yeah, it's a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
It's a good game, but it's not without its flaws.
Yeah. I mean, having completed it, I would say that I wouldn't give it any more than 8 for me. But again, it loses points because of the bugs and stuff, and that one particular loop that I got stuck on really bothered the hell out of me. But yeah, there we go. That's A Plague's Tale: Innocence. That's my spotlight of the week done pretty much. And yeah, we can probably move on to the news if we're done with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, give it a go. It's still fairly cheap at the moment, but look around. If you can get it on Game Pass, play it on Game Pass. Steam does have it on a sale, but that sale isn't going to last forever, and it's currently 75% off at $34.99 down to $8.74. But if you're going to get it now before it's gone, if you can't, you might find it cheaper anywhere. CD Keys again, they probably have it for a couple of quid.
Yeah.
So it's worth paying. I wouldn't pay any more than 15 quid for it now because of the age of the game. But if you can get it cheap, get it cheap. Yeah, but play it before the next one comes out because you set yourself up for the next game. I still have high. I'm still kind of hoping that the next one's going to be as good or if not better than this one. But
it looks like it's going to be more combat focused because she looks proper hard ass in the trailer. She's got a bow and it looks like it's going to be more combat focused.
Yeah, so they're going to add added more combat to it rather than just the slingshot.
Yeah,
so we'll see how it comes out.
Does she dodge? Does she have like a little dodge button?
I can't remember if she did or not. I can't remember if there was a dodge. There was a bit of combat. Some of the combat was more like you learning it at the start, so you had to do running around, aim, fire, run around, aim, fire, run around, stop, aim, fire. There's a lot of that throughout, and it's a lot of holding Hugo's hand because otherwise he won't move, and you're like, come on, I want to move on. Come on,
Yeah,
dragging.
he gets stuck sometimes. It's very frustrating. The
Yeah.
AI partner ain't very great.
No, but
It's
hopefully,
very infuriating. But that's only a minor gripe, really.
yeah. But yeah, hopefully they fix all the bugs and it will be fine to play. But we'll see what it's like closer to the day anyway, and we'll decide once it's out once the new one's out, whether I'm gonna actually pursue playing it or not. But I've got it on my wish list, and if it's any good, we'll give it a go. But yeah, there we go. That's Spotlight's done for this week. I think we'll move on. We can go into the gaming news or anything like that we got coming up. I want to say, should we do this one then? So you're, yeah, I'm gonna go into the Epic Game Store thing at the moment because it's finally gets its. We'll do this one and I might do this one back to back. I'm gonna do them quite quickly anyway. So then, if you've got your news, do you want to do that one first? Yours first, or should we go with the Epic one? Go with the Epic. Go with the Epic.
Go with yours. Go with yours first.
It's a very quick sort of like just because Epic Game Stores has not had Epic Game Stores adds, a long-awaited feature to the Epic Game Stores on the PC, allowing users to filter through their games library. So finally, the Epic Game Store has evolved slower than many expected. Features for the Epic PC gaming storefront have been slow to come to function. Through Epic has maintained a consistent rollout over time. Epic doesn't make a big deal out of each new feature release anymore, but Epic Game Store users will undoubtedly be interested to know that each eventual update. The latest update has arrived, inducing another basic feature to the Epic Game Store: a games library filter. It may sound ridiculous to hear that Epic Games Store has virtually no method of sorting players' games libraries up to this point, but that's the truth.
Stupid, isn't it, really?
It is. I mean,
it's stupid. Why
would you not have that? It's a basic thing, isn't it? I mean, like most game stores that you go to has a library. Like, I mean, obviously, I look at Steam as a go-to platform anyway, but that's been going around for centuries. It's been going around for years, that one. But yeah, anyway, Epic users could sort their full game libraries either alphabetically or by recent. The new Epic Game Store update improves the situation dramatically and filters the section has been added to the game library that grants Epic Game Store users a variety of important options for praising through their growing list of games. Filter options include submenus for genre, fixtures, types, and platform. Each submenu then has as many options below it as makes sense for the category. For example, the genre menu has nearly 30 different options to select from, comedies through trivia, back through card game, and into survival. The other menus can help Epic Game Store's users find co-op games, VR games, editor or Mac games as necessary. While filters may not be an experience-changing feature, the importance of the feature can't be underestimated. Many Epic Game Store users have dozens, if not hundreds, of games by now, simply due to the Epic's free offering. It's easy to imagine forgetting a game's name and searching through a library of hundreds of titles trying to find it. It could be enough to turn someone against Epic in an instant. Filtering in users' game libraries.
Your filter library is awful. I hate you.
Yeah, I don't want to be here no more.
I will not download your free games. Screw you.
Filtering in users' game libraries isn't as an important feature, it's a necessary feature. It's almost silly that it hasn't been available up until now, but Epic is taking its time. The Epic Game Store has to work without error se- um, securely for millions of users across the world. After all, that won't make users any less frustrated at the pacing of releases, but it's the truth of the situation. Epic continues to move forward with several additional features planned for release in the relatively near future. User profiles is perhaps the biggest upcoming addition, but other features, including game ratings, polls, and notification system, are also listed as up next. The features may arrive slowly, but Epic Game Store users can trust that they will arrive eventually. Well, it's about
Well,
time, but it's what a stupid thing not to include. You should always
yeah,
have that as a basic sort of setup to any sort of
it's
store.
it's amazing how little money they've put into their UI and interface in that software, considering they're like prioritizing free games and exclusives and all right to draw people to the platform or the
Yeah,
downloadable browser, if you like. And they don't make it user friendly for people to use. You come on the back end of Steam, right? It's so dumb that they can't just like, look at that and go, "We'll just copy all of that. We'll make our own version of it."
yeah,
They're not going to get sued for having the same stuff as Steam. It's quite universal, friend list, wish list, store page, community tab. All these things have this. Like any sort of all the dime a dozen thing. There's millions of them now. There's so
yeah,
many
yeah.
bloody downloadable from every company. Download our browser and use our game. You can only have our game on this browser, this browser, this browser. It's so infuriating. I wish there was just one bloody downloadable browser that we could just then link all of our accounts to, and then have shaboom, a whole library just available to us, just there and then. And we haven't got to sign into a million different accounts. We
Yeah.
haven't got to sign into remember a million different passwords. Because sometimes your password expires, and they go, you need to pick a password that's 16 letters long and has various characters, blah, 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 something you're never ever going to remember. It's like unless you write it down. It's like why what this there was before the whole cyberpunk thing. Just for quickly, I'll touch on this because it has some relevance to this.
Yeah.
The before that, I went to pop. Good old games were in development of a browser that was supposed to do that. What I just said, which is like link everything together, have everything in one basket, and including your PlayStation, Xbox, your Steam
Yeah.
account, Switch account, all of the games. Then obviously you can play them, but you can access them through that, and obviously you could play the majority of because with PlayStation they do that PlayStation Now, don't they? You could play on the PC,
Yeah.
so they were basically saying you could play it through that, Xbox Game Pass, and then Steam, and then Epic Games Store, Bethesda launcher, Ubisoft, the main ones I can think of, all under the same sort of bracket that it's all installed. Although you can manually do that to Steam, I don't know if anyone knows this, you can manually add games from other browsers to your launch bar in Steam,
Yeah.
which is very simple to do. But it's just annoying because if that hadn't happened, they were basically in the middle. It was an open beta, and then after the disaster of CD Projekt Red got absolutely slaughtered and quite rightly slow over Cyberpunk, they scrapped. They basically stopped it. So they said they might go back to it in the future, but I'm really hoping that comes to pass. They was have an all-in-one thing that we just connect to, and I think that's what isn't that what the objective of the metaverse thing is? Like just everyone just it's all inclusive, and you just included in, and you sign in, and that's it. You can access everything. Isn't that what? Am I off the beaten path here? I don't really know much about the metaverse and Facebook's metaverse. I'm pretty sure it's something along those lines where they want everything in one basket, so it keeps the people there on the platform. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, although I'm not sure what, obviously you've got people on the platform, they've got to spend money, haven't they? That's the only other thing is the shared straw that the companies wouldn't do that. They wouldn't share profit between them all for having everything in one. in one store. I can see why it's a problem. Actually thinking about it, forget about it. It's not going to work. It's just it's a pipe dream. I have a dream. I have
I
a
have this
dream.
dream.
I have a stream.
I have a stream.
Something
Oh dear. Yeah, that was it's about time like they did something and the
at least a bit easier. You know what I
it's
mean? It's so dumb.
it's the simple thing sometimes that people can get wrong, and they got they're just taking this time.
And you miss out on deals as well because you don't remember to sign into every browser under the sun to claim the free stuff.
Well, I think that yeah, exactly, and that neatly takes us into the next epic thing that I was going to mention actually, which is kind of interesting that they come back to back on this because again, it's about Epic Games. And it's about the Epic Games Store, and it reveals that 2 free games for May the 12th. So from May the 12th, Epic Games Store will give away a new free game while confirming 2 more free games coming to their launcher next week. So this is taken from a couple of days ago. So when it says next week, it's going to be like around the 12th to 15th sort of time. So every Thursday at 12, at it's me reading the word 12 there. Every Thursday at 10 a.m. CT, so is that Central America, I think. I don't know. Whatever that means. But the Epic Games Store gives away new free games. These past few weeks have seen the Epic Games Store give away 1 free game each week instead of the usual 2. But come Thursday, May the 12th, it will be back to giving away 2 free games. Right now, the Epic Games Store free games is Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars is for the uninitiated, a digital version of the board game that, like its name suggests, is about terraforming Mars. Its status as a digital board game means it will likely be fairly niche, but there is no harm in Epic Game Store's users claiming it and giving it a shot. After all, the Epic Game Store's free games are completely free, with absolutely no strings attached. On March the 12th at 10 a.m., Terraforming Mars will be replaced by 2 new Epic Game Store free games. First up is Jotan Valhalla Edition, and which is an action game with a hand-drawn art style. Jotan receives mostly positive reviews from critics, so it's definitely worth a look for Epic Game Store users come next week. However, the headlining Epic Game Store free game for May the 12th is definitely Prey, a reboot of the sci-fi FPS Prey series. Prey was developed by Arkane Studios and has been favorably compared to games like BioShock and Dishonored. Prey is definitely one of the more higher profile Epic Game Store free games, but it may seem familiar to some users of the service. After all, this is not the first time that Prey has been on an Epic Game Store free game. The Epic Game Store has been known to host return free games from time to time, where it gives away a game that it has already given away for free in the past. This is the case with the Prey reboot, when it's simply made free for Epic Game Store's users to claim on May the 12th. Why exactly this is happening is unclear, but the Epic Game Store is not alone in giving away a rerun free game this month. The Xbox free game with gold for May 2022 also include a rerun game, as they include Hydro Thunder Hurricane, a game that was first given away to gold subscribers in 2017. So while dedicated users of these services may be a little disappointed at the double dipping, those that missed out the first time around will likely appreciate the chance to add these games to their collections. So yeah, that is Epic Games
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into
Free.
it's free stuff. It's free stuff. It's free games. You can't really argue. Anything
Prey
that's
is a
free.
fantastic game.
Yeah, Prey.
One of the better first person shooters you could play. To be honest,
Indeed. Yeah.
definitely worth picking up if you haven't got it already.
Yeah, I mean, and it is on the GameStop. So, and who knows? It might even become It might even come out when you get a library with it as well. Now, so you'll be able to find it easier.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. So there you go. That's a little bit of news that I've looked at. Did you want to bring anything into this news section, Freddie?
Yeah. I've got. I need to load it up. It's a funny little story, actually. We warned this. It might be a bit on the lewd side. Let me just get it up. No, not that. Not yet. Anyway, it's not. It's not that time of the month, right? Anyway, where is it? Where is the lovely little thing I saw earlier? So, if I can find the stupid thing, where's it gone? Why is it not on the help? Oh, I've got I've got it. Right. This will make you laugh, everybody. Right. So those that like to collect statues, figurines, posable figures that I do have some. I don't have any of this sort of money. We'll get to into it in a minute. But those like you have your pin-up favorite female or male characters of the favorite games you have. Some might argue that, say, for instance, in the Final Fantasy VII universe, Tifa is their favorite because of her personality. Her two very big personalities she has. Everyone seems to fall in love with. Not the fact that she can knock you out in about 2 seconds flat. She is she's a knockout, quite literally. In the terms of the video game female sort of list of hottest women. She makes the top list in almost every sense of the word, everywhere. Every top list. Anyone that's played Final Fantasy VII, it's like, yeah, Tifa. Oh, like a bit Tifa. Oh, Tifa. That's basically what the fans are like, right? So some sweaty nerd somewhere has made has made a statue of Tifa from Final Fantasy Remake twerking. And it's made the news. And it's not just that; she has fully posable, fully removable clothing as well. So you can make her as naked as the day she was born with an exchangeable bodysuit. I mean, I questioned this, but why is it worth $730? I get it, like it's a unique pose and it's probably a very rare collector's item because I don't think they would have made many of these. All right, so they're obviously jumping on the bandwagon of let's jump into let's get some money from the whole um video game
Hello.
video game rule 34. Hello Beth.
Hello. Sorry. I thought I'd join in the end. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I'm here. Carry on, sorry.
So I've got to sort my camera out now. I can't.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to be like...
Delays. Right. Hang on. Steve has been cut in half by the purple screen. And
sorry, I ruined it all. Should I leave again?
No, it's fine.
No, don't leave. It's fine. That's it. Damage is done.
No one can see. No one can see. No one can see. That's fine.
No one can see. It's fine. No, it didn't happen. All right. I can leave you as the little picture since you're not on cam. So
sure,
we'll do that.
I'll be quiet.
Oh, that's fine. You don't have to be quiet, Beth.
I don't know what to say. So.
Oh, I haven't finished talking yet. Right. So these sweaty developers of well, I should say horny developers have decided to make this. Yeah, I mean, how would you feel about having your favorite pin-up being made into a statue, and then you can have the option to make them naked, and then you could buy them for a pricey sum of £730 or dollars. I mean, but maybe £100, £150 at a push, and it'd have to be like a pretty substantially sized model for okay, finding space for one's model might be difficult, but for that, just the fact that you can look up this stuff for free on Rule 34. Why would you want a £730 statue. And this, I guess, this is a touchy-feely type. I don't know. I don't know. I can't make reasons for this other than just they're very lonely gamers.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny. I mean, I'm surprised Square Enix have sanctioned something like this, considering they're always like, "Oh, the porn industry is ruining all our characters. The porn industry is ruining all of our cartoon characters. Oh, look what happened to BioShock and Elizabeth." And yet, because of that, their sales went through the roof. So, it's. I'm guessing they're trying to jump on the horny bandwagon. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honestly, I'm quite baffled by. I was surprised by the twerking thing. Anyway, when I scrolled down, it said fully nude, removable body, posable nude body. I'm like, yeah,
People like that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm not fully surprised actually.
Right, so let me. I'm gonna read an excerpt from this this PC gamer post here.
Okay.
If you want to ponder Final Fantasy lore for a moment, consider whether Tifa is in fact working on Zack's grave.
That's my chair.
We all grieve in our own ways. I have to admit, the quality here looks really good. Whoever sculpted is clearly passionate about their art. Yes. The funniest thing about a statue, and there are a lot of funny things about it, is how every promotional image of it is plastered with the Final Fantasy Final Fantasy VII Remake logo, even though it's definitely not an officially licensed product. Well, if it's not an officially licensed product, then it's going to be taken down then. If we did have you fool me half for a second. So someone's made this. Okay, so somebody's made this. I see, I've jumped the gun there. Someone's just a fan's made this. I thought it was official because it had the thing on it, the remake logo on it. So I've just gone, yeah, okay, that's real. So it's not. It's a fan. Some fans made it and sold it for 730. I'm disappointed now.
No.
I thought Square Enix were going to jump in. Yeah, I wanted to buy that as well for reasons.
I've already pre-ordered it. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
You pre-ordered it. Damn it.
Yeah, damn it already. Oh no.
Is it be fooled? By Square Enix standards, the statue isn't all that expensive. The creator of the Final Fantasy was concerned about the 12,000 price tag for a recent Final Fantasy VI statue. 12 grand? What?
Wow.
That's 12 grand. That's crazy.
No, so what level of I'd expect it to get up and actually go out the house and slay monsters properly for 12 grand and bring back actual gold. For 12 grand, right? That is what I would expect.
For 12 grand, I want that sword that she's posing up against.
Yeah, and I'd rather be the sword. Anyway, so I didn't say anything.
This is madness. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is nuts. It is nuts. I'm joking, by the way. I'm not that deprived.
Speak for yourself.
He
says. Whoever floats your boat.
Yeah. Oh, Tifa apparently.
Okay, so I don't know if you've given it a full description. I want to give it a full description for anyone sort of listening. And so basically, someone's crafted this model of Tifa, right? So I was just saying her name, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's so the female character is leant forward on her forearms with her backside in the air and legs are spread, and she is wearing clothes, but it's not really much to the imagination. And the butt is against the big ass sword. That's basically what you're going to get. It's interchangeable as well, wasn't it? It's interchangeable parts.
Yeah, you can swap her out for a naked one.
Well, why? Why don't you just ship it the naked one? Like no one's going to want the clothed one, right?
No, because there's you're still reading from the same. There's 4 options, isn't there?
Yeah. Standard.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry, Steve.
Standard advanced with interchangeable nude body, advanced with interchangeable battle suit nude body, advanced with 2
gloves,
interchangeable body. Yeah, it's just, and it's, I don't know. I mean, like, it's fan made.
Yeah, I'm disappointed it's fan made. I was hoping it was real.
So it doesn't actually
maybe.
carry. It doesn't carry the license, then, does it? Because it's not.
No, it's got the
Nice.
license plastered all over it, but it's not an official product. So I imagine
it's
somebody's
not.
going to be getting
Oh.
sued somewhere.
That-
I can't see Square Enix letting that slide.
No, definitely not.
Did you hear about the there was a meeting, there was a Zoom call between some developers and somebody. They posted the IP address for the Zoom call publicly instead of privately. So some people hacked it and they played Tifa Lockhart porn on the live stream, and it's official like government
Oh my god.
government posting, and it trended on Twitter for like 2 days, and everyone was like, "Where can I find that clip?" It's so
They
funny.
want it.
But it's just like, and then everyone was like, "Oh, that's outrageous! How could you make that of that character?" I was like, "Mate, she's been sexualized since her conception. All horny teenagers literally fancied her when playing through Final Fantasy VII, and then some. You have Tomb Raider, which
Yeah.
set the bar stone, set the bar, and then Tifa comes along, and it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's everyone's Googled somebody at some point. It's just natural, isn't it? Attraction is perfectly normal, and everyone's like, you can't do that. It's like, really? Do you have blood in your bones? No. So surely you're attracted to something. I like my stone. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going off the beaten path again, aren't I?
A little bit.
Nah, just a little bit. I mean, a lot.
It's
So what else have we got? Well, I think I'll move on now. I've embarrassed myself enough.
Okay.
Oh man, yeah. No, I see this topic, and I was just thinking, I wonder which one of us is going to pick up on that one. So
You called me out.
yeah, there you go.
Right, is there anything else that's just not as juicy as that?
Not
But
as
maybe-
juicy, maybe not.
I'm getting fed up of seeing Elden Ring everywhere. I'm
I
actually sick of reading Elden Ring news.
I'm going to bring this in because now Beth's in the call as well. I think both up. This is going to be up most of our streets. I think we're all sort of Evil Dead fans anyway, right? So
Yes.
Evil Dead game
Yeah.
teases Army of Darkness DLC. With the release of the Evil Dead game only days away, the developers is already teasing fans with a concept art of up-and-coming DLCs. The much anticipated Evil Dead, the game, is one of the latest entries into the horror game list for 2022. The movie series on which the game is based is a cult classic from the 80s that was helmed by director Sam Raimi. Although the game is only a few days away from launch, the developers have already started sharing teasers of what the horror fans can expect from Evil Dead in the coming months. Evil Dead the game was first unveiled at 2020 Game Awards with a focus on multiplayer based team play. However, following the backlash over the lack of single player content, the game was eventually delayed to build on its single player offering. Now, as the title launch draws nearer, developer Saber Interactive has shared more details on Evil Dead, the game's story. This was followed by developers sharing concept art of some of the post-launch content Evil Dead the game will feature. In a tweet from the game's official account, the concept images offering a glimpse of Castle Kandar from Army of Darkness along with a rough outline of the map. The developers state that the Army of Darkness DLC will be free for all Evil Dead the game players, and that it's one of many DLCs in the works. Although not much else is known with regards to a possible release date or content update, the news of multiplayer DLCs for the game should excite plenty of Evil Dead fans. But the game it's only the game it's the only new Evil Dead content to debut in the year as director Sam Raimi is returning to the franchise with the sequel Evil Dead Rise. The movie is set to release late in 2022 on HBO Max, and Raimi claims that Evil Dead Rise will be terrifying. After seeing various cuts of the movie, while there is no official confirmation the Evil Dead, the game will feature Raimi's latest movie. It's not unlikely that fans could see Evil Dead Rise content in the game in a future DLC. Overall, 2022 has turned out to be a promising year for horror fans. This year's slate of horror games include Dying Light 2, Dead Space Remake, the Castello Protocol, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, and other like Elden Rings and Ghostwire Tokyo. On the movie side of things, fans have already been treated with titles like Scream, No Exit X, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, and more. Either way, the release of Evil Dead, the game, promises to be an interesting addition to the horror game genre. So that sounds awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say I didn't even know they were making a Evil Dead Rise
I
movie.
knew about that. I knew about it, but I didn't know Sam Raimi had something to do with it.
I didn't know. I didn't know about it at all. That's news to me. I said to Beth yesterday that
Yeah.
I haven't looked up any horror films or anything. I don't know anything about what's coming out this year. So I'm really chuffed about that. I'm looking forward to that. An actual scary Evil Dead film. Yes, please.
Yeah, there's I know it's not. There's quite a few remakes happening. Like I know this is about I know Jeepers Creepers doesn't have the best reputation, and someone with all the stuff that happened with it, but they're making a reborn, like a newer one of it.
Jeepers
So
Creepers was horrible, man. I hated that film when I first watched that.
I know,
That was
especially
that
when
was evil.
well, there's evil behind it, literally.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
So,
we won't get into that, but
no.
the whole concept was nasty, man. It
Yeah.
eventually maybe like, oh, that's nasty. It's really proper, like, that's rank.
Yeah, and there's
But
new Candyman coming out as well.
oh, Candyman, Candyman. Oh, work is gonna come and get me. Oh,
If I'm right.
sorry, I hate. I didn't say it in the mirror. I'm fine.
I am very excited about the movie and the game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay neutral about the game because I'm not sure what to expect yet.
I really hope it's a really good survival horror game. I'll be pissed off if they drop the ball and another wasted license. There's so many licenses that have just been wasted by crap games. You've only got to look at literally every TV game ever. Like I think the only decent game that's been based on a film, GoldenEye. I think that is the only one I can think of that literally. And there's a couple of PlayStation 2 Bond films that have been really good, but for the most part, TV to movie video games, or even TV series to video games have been pretty much awful.
Yeah.
Even the Evil Dead games on the PlayStation 2, the one from 2005, I can't remember its name, but I did play it, and it was bad. So a semi-open world, or imagine a Grand Theft Auto Evil Dead game.
Oh my
co-op.
god, that'd be so.
And you got to drive around fighting all the Deadites and
doing objectives and missions
doing objectives,
and stuff.
closing the portals, fighting bosses. Outrunning hordes of Deadites in the cars, or building up your car so you can drive through the Deadites to get to your quest objectives. There's so many cool ways you could do. You don't even have to have Bruce Campbell in it. You could just have the franchise carry on without him. Maybe even put his son in the game. Have him have a son that he doesn't know about. Because he's a playboy. So you can have him have his son that doesn't know nothing about turn up, and he's John Williams or something. I don't know what his name is, but whatever his name is. But it'd be really cool. There's so much wasted potential with the Evil Dead series for comedy horror. There isn't any comedy horrors anymore. I don't think anything
No.
comes close. I mean, the last comedy horror I can think of is the Quentin Tarantino movie, Dusk Till Dawn, which is sort
Yeah,
of semi comedy
yeah. I mean, there
sort
has
of
been
horror.
some like,
Well, not really good ones.
oh
Not
no, but
this. I
okay
can't think.
ones.
There's been like I don't know, murder. There's been like murder mysteries and stuff, which is elements of horror. But
Shaun of
Yeah.
the
anyway,
Dead.
yeah, Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, that's another really good one.
Yeah,
Again, that's 2004, 2004,
yeah, something
isn't
like
it?
that. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
old,
if
man.
you
There's,
talk
there's nothing
when
recent.
it comes to, I mean, comedy. I mean, we could do a podcast just on this alone. I think actually, to be
Yeah.
fair, there's quite a lot there to sort of
Yeah,
dive
to
into.
unpack. Yeah,
It's a good balance.
Yeah.
Very
But
good balance.
I would argue that there hasn't been that many good horror games, regardless of whether it's comedy or not.
Yeah, I would
In
agree.
recent years.
I'd agree with
yeah,
that.
yeah. There's not been any standout titles. I think the good ones we've covered.
I'm sorry.
Outlast,
I'm sorry.
Alien Isolation. No.
Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
Well, what's it called? The Evil Within, Resident
Yeah.
Evil.
That's the only like. There's only a select group of them, and like, yeah, not all of them are super great. But I will say,
Mansion.
that was
get that out.
terrifying for a different reason.
Yeah.
I just hope I'm a bit, because the only thing I will say about the Evil Dead the game as well, just touching back on it again, is that I'm a bit concerned with the locked DLC behind pre-orders, and if they're already talking about DLC before the game's even out, I'm a bit apprehensive about what sort of monetizations they're going to stick in the game, because they're going to stick something in there.
Of course.
Because they're going to be like, oh, you didn't pre-order the game? Well, here's the store. You can buy the skins for £20, £30 a piece.
They
Oh yeah,
better not do
great.
that.
If they do that, I will outright be infuriated.
Yeah, I think everyone would.
I don't like outrageous devs. I mean, if they're going to milk the franchise, at least be reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Because The Evil Dead doesn't have a massive following. So if you price out the fans, like the majority of fans, with greedy antics, and you've only got like the hardcore fans buying into it, the game will die.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want the game to do well. I want the game to be good. I'm a little bit concerned that they've sort of tacked on single player, because if you follow the Evil Dead storyline, he's mainly on his own for the most part. Anyway, he doesn't have a group of people with him. So for the story perspective, from what I've read and what I've seen of the story mode, it's kind of like a tacked on objective collectathon with a few missions here and there tailored to single player, but he's still got the group with him. And I think the only time he has a big group with him is in the TV show.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, so
That all stay together throughout.
Yeah, and I wonder. Yeah, Lucy Lawless is in that. So what's fun? I like Lucy Lawless. Always have done. Ever since I was a wee teenage lad watching Xena Warrior Princess.
I found her through the Evil Dead series, and I really like I'm a big fan of hers.
Which is why she got the cameo in Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
She was in Spider-Man. She was the one who goes, "Hey, a guy with bad lands can't be bad." She was that girl in the subway, if you remember.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
So which
that's
is
also why
Sam Raimi, yeah.
It's also why Bruce Campbell's in the first Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's in all three.
He's in all three.
Yeah. He's in all three, and he's in the Doctor Strange film.
I bet he is.
At the end.
Oh, don't spoil it. No,
it's not a spoiler. He's been in every Sam Raimi. It's a Sam Raimi thing. They've known each other since they were in college.
Oh, yeah, because Sam Raimi directed. Yes.
Yeah, they've been friends for their entire life. So any project that Sam Raimi's in is like, I've got to have Bruce Campbell in. Like no matter what, he's got to be in it one way or the other.
Yeah, I love that.
So almost everything that Sam Raimi has done, Bruce Campbell was a credit or been in it or some involvement, which is quite funny.
Sorry, not to just come off this just briefly. Can I just mention briefly what the actual hell has Beth done with her Discord?
Hey.
Beth's just updated her I just can't describe it.
What? What's wrong with it?
Beth is right. So for the purpose of this podcast, but Beth,
What's wrong with
for
it?
her profile picture has just changed her Discord picture, and it's oh god.
What?
I'm sorry. That is a visual
That's how-
joke that I cannot
It's so
describe.
good.
It's so
It's-
good.
I'm
It's so
sorry.
good.
I took it one time and I'm like, I have
It's
to.
so good. It's like we were way. I was just clicked onto it because we're all in that collective call, and it's like, oh, your icon, your profile picture just go
Where
on,
you look
and it was distracting me for so long. I wanted to cut in and not say nothing for ages.
Just don't look at it too long.
But anyway, anyway, no film. Getting back to the topic just briefly, then, film game. You can't get away from it, there, can you? Oh dear. Right.
Did everything.
Oh dear. I think that's sort of ruined that whole.
I think, yeah.
That's
She looks like something out of the Muppets.
Oh dear. Yeah, there we go. I can actually put that up. Let's put that on the screen there right now. So if you are watching, this is what we can see.
That's so funny.
Oh dear. But yeah.
Gotta
No,
be your profile pic from now on, Beth.
Yeah.
film to just briefly to finish off that what we were just talking about, but film to game never really works well. Like there are some exceptions, but not all. I'm looking forward to it, but again, I'm not like even what you were saying. You haven't got your hopes up too high, because if it does fail, you got the disappointment's there, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, then you're pleasantly surprised, and that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As an Evil Dead fan, I want it to be good, but
Yes.
I don't expect it to because of previously it hasn't been so good. So
Yeah.
And-
I just want it to be better than Back for Blood.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah.
better
I
than Back
think
for Blood, that'll be a
Oh.
win for me.
it better be.
'Cause Back for Blood is
I hope anything
Below
can be
average.
better than that.
well, yeah. I mean, it's excrement, to be fair. Sorry.
hope for the best and assume the worst. That's how my motto now with
Back for Blood was
games
like
that I look forward to.
they tried palming it off as the third installment of like Left 4 Dead, which, you know, if they was going to do a Left 4 Dead, they should have just done it as Left 4 Dead 3, and that was it. Not just copy and paste and then call it something different.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
where
not, it wasn't just that. It was too hard. It was one of the hard. I think it's one of the hardest games I've ever played, like
Yeah.
in terms of co-op shooters.
I didn't even get to play it.
Couldn't even get past second level. It was impossible.
I couldn't even I wanted to
Yeah,
play with you guys, but I couldn't even get it to work to play.
No, we couldn't. And then
So-
then there's all the issues and crashes and stuff and bugs
So
and
I
whatever.
gave up.
Yeah.
With
Maybe we
Okay.
should. I say revisit it. Is it worth revisiting?
No.
No, exactly. I think it's dead, isn't it? It's dead.
Yeah.
Back for Blood.
Finally, a zombie has died and they buried.
Yeah,
But that game was overhyped to oblivion.
it was. It was.
There's not been that much hype with this game. There's only the real Deadites that follow it. No, the real Deadite fans
Yes.
that follow the Evil Dead series will be really hyped for this game.
Yes.
But I think like Beth said, I'm keeping it on the down low and
Yeah.
hoping that it's good. If
Can't be
it's
too optimistic.
if it's terrible, I think I'm gonna lose all hope in pre-ordering anything ever again. I think
Yeah.
unless it's a From Software game. I think I see anything I can bank on right now is From Software, and then they'll probably next year they'll do a CD Projekt Red and they'll release something that's absolute garbage. It'll be terrible. It'll be Trek to Yomi levels of combat.
Right.
Oh dear.
Um,
I'll take over your picture, Beth.
I know. Don't look at it too long because it just makes you laugh. I might have to change it back. It's
No.
No,
Keep it.
don't.
It's fine. It's brilliant. Leave it. It's
Actually,
fine.
telling you not to. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Every time I
Just-
look at it, it's just it's so stupid.
It's so funny.
Every time I look at it, you made it. Something like you
I
knew.
know. Like
this-
every time, it's hilarious. I can't. Whenever I look at it, it's just,
That's got to be a new man. You got to have an emote of that face.
please make an emote on you. I will absolutely like.
I'll
yeah,
just use that everywhere.
everywhere. I'll
Just
just
meme
use
it
it
everywhere.
okay. Let's see what I can do.
New remote coming soon, people, for the Beth's channel.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, that's a good idea. Thanks. I'll do that. 100%.
Oh, dear.
100. It'd be an inside joke though. Like people are like,
No,
what the
but
heck
what
is
a
that?
great talking point.
What?
How it came about. You know, you can now. You know, there you
Well-
go. You got a talking point now, haven't you? Well, I decided to make it because I wanted to
Well-
make all my friends laugh
well,
during the
one of my-
podcast.
One of my friends wanted me to get Snapchat, and I don't like Snapchat, but I downloaded it just to talk to them, and I was
Gotta
going
be
through
the
the
worst
filter.
app ever. Sorry.
Yes, and I was going through the
Snapchat.
filters to see what kind of filters there were, and I came across this one. I was like, I gotta keep that. I gotta keep that.
Yeah.
I haven't been on Snapchat since. Just so you know.
Oh, you made it for one particular for that one person, and that was it.
Yeah.
And you had one
And-
conversation, and it ended.
Yeah.
Snap-
Basically.
Snapchat has some fantastic filters, and that's where the fun ends on Snapchat.
Yeah, like I don't want to
Don't like it? Get it off my phone.
get it off my phone. I don't like it.
I want red.
Oh, I don't want that one.
No, I don't want that one.
I don't want that one.
Never.
Don't like it.
No, I don't like it. Oh, we're just turned into Little Britain now. We're just
Yeah,
gone off
yeah.
in a completely different direction altogether now.
that's what usually happens, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, it does.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
So that's some bits and pieces because we fall to pieces at the end.
We do. Do you know, I do it every time just to sort of make sure I listen to the podcast. I always go back to the podcast, and because now I was you weren't in for this at the start, Beth, so I'll just I'll fill you in on the details briefly. But yeah, my bus journey has become quite long. So
All right.
it's long enough now that I can listen to the podcast, and we're done. We always do aim for about 2 hours. We don't aim for 2 hours; it just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially recently.
Recently, yeah, and so
Yeah,
because
muffled.
one of my buses that
I
I
can't stop
get is
talking.
about 80 minutes long.
Oh
So-
wow.
so-
Okay.
Wow.
So I've been, I listened to the podcast. I was like, God, we did half break up towards the end, didn't we? I think it's brilliant. I love it. I laugh at my own jokes sometimes.
I
I'm
know.
like,
Yeah,
I'm the only
me
one who
too.
does, but
So,
Like-
yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that. Listen back to stuff.
oh, good. I'm not alone. I'm not. Oh.
And like near the end of the
No.
podcast,
Yeah.
we lose concentration and we just go
Our
wild.
composure has just gone.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think that's amazing.
The gloves come off.
Well, I keep my gloves on.
Speaking of laughing,
Do you?
are you? How prepared are you? How prepared are you? Do you have anything you wanted to add, like a joke of the week, maybe? 'Cause, like, we
I
are
have
coming
a joke of the week. I don't have a spotlight.
No.
so-
Okay, fine.
I don't.
Um,
Yeah.
Best
Okay.
joke of the week.
Joke of the
Best
week.
joke of
Okay,
the
so I wasn't sure if I was gonna make the podcast today. So when Jelly was in my channel earlier, because I did stream earlier, I told him that I'd send the joke to him, but he's not here right now.
Okay.
He must be
No.
sleeping because he's been up for a while. So I
10 minutes.
Oh,
thought,
poor Jelly.
yeah. So I
I can relate.
Yeah.
Do you think Jelly will listen to this
No.
later? What?
No.
Well,
no.
we're-
I'm joking. Yeah, I'm joking. Of course we will.
Jelly, you.
Jelly.
sorry.
Jelly.
It's just
When-
for you, mate.
Yeah.
Jelly, this
I
is-
think he does
well-
listen to this when he goes to the gym, doesn't he? Yeah, he
Well,
listens. Yeah, or he
I
listens
dunno.
to someone's podcast.
Jelly is
Well,
Big
it's
fan.
been a
MFP. No,
Yeah. He's our
MVP.
Mega Pint fan.
Megapint. Yeah, a Megapint fan. Yeah.
Hey.
So I sent the joke to him,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I'll
Right.
tell you now here.
Okay.
Drum roll, please.
Okay. What do you call two witches who share a broom? Broom mates.
Oh.
Okay, that made me laugh. I like that.
Yeah.
I approve of that one.
There are some
Yeah.
like, even though they're really silly jokes, they're all right. They're all right. The jokes in the book.
They
Good.
make you smile and they do their job, don't they?
Yeah, exactly
That's
right.
the point of them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, thank you for joining us, Beth. And thanks. And Freddie, thank you very much for being on the show
you're
this
welcome.
week. As I said just prior to the podcast, I did mention this already, so I will make the announcement now. Contractually, I am Monday to Friday, so I should be able to now say this without any badness coming towards me. Like, now I've said it. I will be able to continue to do the podcast every Saturday. So yeah, that's a good thing. So that is
Nice.
something
Okay.
there. So we have got confirmation on that. Yeah. So next week we'll be back again for episode 28, but we have now come to the end of episode 27. And like I said, thank you very much to my two co-hosts, The Freedy Show and PizzaBeth. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, guys. I know it was kind of a bit of brief in sort of intro and outro for Beth, but yeah. What an intro though. Thank you for that, Beth, because that was that was one of the best. That's one of the best sort of things I've had.
That's gonna go on our 2022 reel.
That is
know?
oh yeah,
Of moment.
our end of year sort of laughter reel. That's definitely going on there as one of the funniest moments. The podcast, yeah.
I saw a good edit where like you guys will be talking and then I slowly zoom into it you know, as you guys are talking, and then we realize
scream.
Yeah. That is now become its own meme. It's gonna be
yeah. If you see this woman, run the other way.
I want to see how many people actually notice.
Oh,
though.
can you put that on a meme, right? So it looks like, you know where Amber Turd is doing that thing with the note, and it's just you sneak in. Can you do that? Can you just please?
I sneak in.
You're sneaking on the courtroom just as Amber Turd does something stupid. I want to see that. I want to see that, and I want someone to make it. I'd love that to come in, just sneaks in the background.
Could you imagine having her like doing whatever her crap, and you cut to, I don't know, Johnny's team, and I'm just in the crowd.
Yes,
you know?
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. You're
crowd.
right. You've sold me on that. I look forward to seeing something like that soon. But okay, so yeah, then we come to that said, I think we have now come to the end. So speaking of socials and putting things out on socials, is anyone streaming next week? Do you want to announce any streams that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I'm streaming as much as possible. Usually three times a week. By now, you should know that I stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays with the Bits and Pieces podcast. But now I do Fridays with my own podcast, the 3D Cast, which is at 9 p.m. Almost every Friday. Next week, however, I'm not doing one. I'm taking a break. But the following week, on the 20th of May, I have my second guest. Special guest is going to be Butternut Soft Plays, who's going to be joining me as a fellow streamer. We're going to be talking about horror stuff and other bits and bobs, bits and pieces, and other things, and all things horror related gaming as well. So I would appreciate everyone coming along and giving us a watch over at www.twitch.tv/TheFreedyShow exclusively. So please come along and say hello. I'd appreciate it.
Cool. Awesome. Beth, what about yourself? Are you going to be streaming anytime next week?
Maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't know yet.
Don't know.
No, so follow me anyway. PizzaBeth
Yeah.
on Twitch.
Maybe sometime in the morning.
Maybe sometime in the morning. Maybe
sometime
sometime at
in the
night.
afternoon. Maybe not at all.
Yeah, not at all. I'll make that a meme. Like my face can be anything now. Like
It's the world's oyster.
yep,
Memes.
yep. I need
I'm
to
gonna
work
make
on.
one.
Can you imagine we would found that filter and we all changed our profile picture to it?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
I'm
look
gonna
at
do
it.
it.
I'm gonna do it. We're all gonna join in with that. That's funny.
Yep. We'll definitely do
Anyway.
that. But yeah, okay. So as for myself, I am not going to be streaming so much during the week. I never did anyway. But I mean, like until I settle into my new job, I might be able to stream tomorrow, depending on how I feel. I've not been feeling great over the last couple of days, so I don't know if you've heard throughout this podcast, my voice has started to go. It's been coming and going a lot. So,
Coming and going.
It sounds like I'm on 70 cigarettes a day. It's like, yeah,
70
cigarettes a day. All right, yeah. So I started saying like Frank Butcher from the old EastEnders, the old version of
Sounds like
EastEnders.
it's been possessed.
Yeah. Yes, I know. I need an old priest and a young priest to exercise me. Oh my God, that's like Reagan. Are you in there? I might have to join you on your horror show podcast at next.
Yeah, dude.
No, but anyway, I shouldn't do that because it really stings.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's my bad. I'm bad influence.
Friday. Naughty.
I should be back to some normal scheduling next Saturday. I didn't stream today. Normally I streamed 3 till 6 and then I do the podcast. Next week I will definitely be doing the podcast at 9 o'clock. And then on Sunday I will do a day stream, but I have to scrap my evening streams, unfortunately, on Sunday because it sort of clashes with my bedtime. I've now got to get up at a ridiculous time in the morning.
6 p.m. bedtime.
Yeah,
not far off.
Not far off. Yeah. So I will be changing my schedule in a little bit, but the Bits and Pieces podcast will continue on the Saturdays at 9. And hopefully that's the main thing. That's the main thing, I guess. So yeah, I will be back again next week. And I'll try and do something if I can tomorrow on a Sunday, that is. But of course, by the time this goes out, it is a Sunday, so you might have already missed it. But yeah, just check it. Just follow me at twitch.tv/FunnybitsBoi, and then you'll be able to keep up to date with whatever I'm doing. Follow the podcast and subscribe to anywhere that you find podcasts as well. Subscribing and leaving reviews really helps podcasts, mine or 3D's, in fact. Just, the description. Look in the description. I'm going to link everyone's whatever socials in the bottom as well. All the socials. Ats from Twitters. All the ats and that there.
And Beth's OnlyFans.
Beth's OnlyFans as well.
She's silent. No,
she's silent. She either didn't hear or didn't care.
Doesn't approve.
Shut
up, Freedy.
My OnlyFans.
Yeah, you're only fan.
Only fan.
You'll see exclusive pictures like my profile picture.
Exactly, worth every penny.
Oh dear. I think that right. Let's end it now in that bombshell before we get ourselves into any trouble.
Subscribe to my OnlyFans, thanks. I'm joking. I do not have OnlyFans. Do not. You will not find me anywhere.
You said it now.
Don't do
it.
Now you're setting up everyone for disappointment.
It's recorded. It's out there now, Beth.
No, it's not. Cut it.
I might. Maybe I'll cut it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I haven't decided. That's it for this week's podcast. Thank you very much to everyone joining. Thanks to everyone who listened, and if we had any, thank you for joining us. And we look forward again to seeing you again next Saturday at 9 live on the Bits and Pieces for the Bits and Pieces podcast over on twitch.tv/FunnybitsBoi or over on twitch.tv/TheFreedyShow, or if Beth streams as well, it's twitch.tv/PizzaBeth. And that's it. That we're done. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we're up. Scene.
And done.